Good morning again, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for this informational webinar on Request for Proposal 6118, which is NYSERDA's Clean Energy Career Awareness Program, focusing on teaching resources and educator training. My name is Holly Monroe, and I'm a member of NYSERDA's Workforce Development and Training team, and I'm joined here today by several of my colleagues. Next slide, please. To start off, I want to offer some tips about the WebEx platform, as well as just some meeting logistics. First, I'd like to draw everyone's attention to the fact that this webinar is being recorded and will be posted following today's event on NYSERDA's website. The website where you can find the recording is listed on this slide, and my colleague will also drop a link in our chat so you can have that web address at your fingertips. As a public participant in this webinar, you'll notice that you were muted upon entry and should see a little slash mark in the microphone button on the lower toolbar of the WebEx screen. We also have disabled the chat feature, but welcome and encourage you to use Slido to submit your questions throughout today's discussion. To access Slido, you can look on the lower right-hand side of your toolbar where apps are listed, and you should be able to enable the Slido feature from there. If you experience any technical difficulties of any kind during today's presentation, please direct those concerns to Sal. Sal's email address is listed in the lower left-hand side of the slide. Next slide, please. Okay. In our time together today, I will be going over a variety of aspects of the RFP, starting with an overview, then stepping into program and proposal requirements, followed by proposal evaluation and a reminder of key due dates. And lastly, we will open things up to questions and answers. Next slide, please. To begin, as many of you I'm sure are already aware, about a week and a half ago, NYSERDA released RFP 6118, under which we are requesting proposals from firms that will help advance a clean energy career awareness program to serve New York State students, youths, and teachers. Proposals are being requested by contractors who wish to provide workforce development and training services for either or both of the following pillars. Those pillars include pillar number 1, our Clean Energy Teaching Resources pillar, under which we seek to develop a web-based platform that contains freely accessible clean energy educational resources that are responsive to the needs of New York State students and teachers, as well as pillar number 2, our Clean Energy Educator Training pillar, under which we seek to develop professional development opportunities for New York State educators to advance their understanding of clean energy in New York State. For anybody who's read through the RFP, you'll also notice that there is a pillar number 3 within our Clean Energy Career Awareness Program. That pillar is for Clean Energy Career Exploration. We offer a few details about that pillar just for your awareness, but please note that pillar number 3 is not included in this RFP and will be issued as a separate solicitation. Under the given RFP for pillars 1 and pillar 2, a total of $5.75 million is available, with $750,000 designated for pillar number 1 and $5 million designated for pillar number 2. Next slide, please. Shortly, I'm going to start stepping through the program requirements for the 2 pillars, But before I do so, I'd like to ask my colleague to drop a link in the chat, which will guide you to the RFP in its entirety. We offer that up in case you'd like to follow along during the presentation. With that said, let's start by discussing the program requirements for Pillar 1, which is the Clean Energy Teaching Resources, the web-based platform. Next slide, please. For Pillar number 1, we are seeking contractors with experience and expertise in clean energy, curriculum curation, and web design. A few of the key components of this statement of work include researching, vetting, ensuring neutrality, and selecting existing open source clean energy teaching content currently in the public domain across grades P through 12 plus. From there, the selected contractor will develop a web page or web pages, obtain website platform and secure website hosting, and secure and configure domain names for the websites to contain the clean energy teaching content that was previously curated. Lastly, the selected contractor will be responsible for maintaining the web pages regularly for the duration of the contract term to ensure the accuracy and timeliness of resources. Next slide, please. So I've spoken about teaching content a few times already, so allow me to define what that means. Teaching content shall include, but not be limited to, a variety of topics and formats. Those topics may include climate change and energy grid basics, a variety of clean energy industry sub-industries, such as electrification, energy efficiency, HVAC, solar and energy storage, wind energy, clean transportation, hydrogen, and nuclear. The topics may also include broader categories of sustainability, clean energy job study data, carbon credits, and circular economy. In terms of formats, we are looking for teaching content in formats such as lessons and activities, curriculum and curriculum ladders, multimedia resources, including videos, podcasts, articles, games, simulations, and virtual labs, as well as recorded interviews with experts. Next slide, please. Once the teaching content has been curated and is ready to be posted on the web pages to be developed, they should be organized for ease of navigation. Such organization may include labels and filters by topic, age and grade bracket, play-based and project-based learning, career and technical education, teaching standard, labels for resources in languages other than English, as well as a rating system that enables teacher feedback on individual resources. Again, this is a representative list, but not intended to be a fully comprehensive list. Next slide, please. Additionally, the web pages to be developed by the selected contractor shall contain supplemental resources. For these resources, we are asking for suggestions by prospective proposers who, if selected for award, would then submit the ideas for NYSERDA's approval. Examples of supplemental resources may include a forum where teachers can engage with one another regarding the resources, tips and case studies for teachers to integrate clean energy content into their classroom, a sign-up form for the Clean Energy Educator Training Series, which will be further described under pillar number 2, a list of New York State clean energy sites and employers that offer tours to educators and students, a list of New York State clean energy employers that are willing to speak with student groups and build long-term partnerships with schools, as well as spotlight features on New York State clean energy projects. Next slide, please. Furthermore, the structure of these web page or web pages to be developed shall contain links and other means of navigation that connect the clean energy teaching content to NYSERDA's workforce development and training program resources. A few of those resources are included as bullet points on this slide, as well as hyperlinks within the RFP itself. Next slide, please. Very importantly, for any firm that is interested in proposing under pillar number 1, I'd like to draw your attention to Attachment F, which accompanied the RFP. Attachment F is our web-related contract addendum, and it outlines very important specifications about website development that would need to be adhered to. As I mentioned earlier, a kind of third and final component of this statement of work would be for the selected contractor to regularly maintain the website for the duration of the contract term to ensure the accuracy and timeliness of resources. That maintenance would take the form of quarterly reviews, under which the web page performance would be assessed, usage and outcome metrics quantified, outdated resources removed, new resources added, and suggestions for improvements made and implemented based on NYSERDA's approval. Furthermore, the proposer and ultimately the selected contractor should be prepared to add tracking tags to record event actions on the web pages so that usage behaviors can be tracked and the site can be available for optimization. Next slide, please. Pivoting now to the program requirements for pillar number 2, which is the Clean Energy Educator Training Professional Development Series. Next slide. Thank you. For pillar number 2, we are seeking proposals from firms with experience and expertise in both clean energy and professional development for educators. The highlights of this scope of work include developing and delivering professional development opportunities for at least 2,000 unique New York State educators to advance their understanding of clean energy in New York State and remove the barriers to understanding the benefits of clean energy. Of those at least 2,000 unique New York State educators, 50% or more should be from or serving a New York State disadvantaged community and or priority district school. Definitions for these two terms are contained in the RFP, and we'll also add them to the chat for ease of reference. Next slide, please. Under pillar number 2, the proposer should be responsible for marketing the professional development opportunities, as well as developing, administering, and screening applications. This may include co-promoting alongside the New York State Department of Labor's Teacher Ambassador Program. It may include outreach to school administrators, technical career centers, teachers unions, guidance counselors, and more. And it shall result in the recruitment of school as well as community or extracurricular educators who are currently teaching students P through 12 in New York State and have plans of continuing to do so in the upcoming calendar year. Next slide, please. Diving in a little bit more into the structure of these training events. These training events shall be structured in ways that offer flexibility to educators. Such flexibility may include offering both summer and school year training events, evening and weekend options, as well as follow-up sessions. It's important to note that our expectation is for the majority of these training events to be delivered in person at locations geographically dispersed around New York State. However, a subset of the training events may be offered virtually, as proposed by the proposer and ultimately based on NYSERDA's review and approval. Training events should be structured as a combination of single-day and multi-day offerings. Next slide, please. More on these training events, specifically what these training events are to consist of. Training events should include vetted, neutral, foundational instruction, hands-on activities, and opportunities for educators to meet a diverse set of clean energy workers and tour varied clean energy job and training sites. The topic areas for the teaching content during these training events mirror the list I previously read off, ranging from climate change and energy grid basics through the variety of clean energy industry subsectors, and closing out with some broader topics such as sustainability, job study data, carbon credits, and circular economy. There's a very important asterisk that I want to draw everyone's attention to on this slide. It's located in the lower right-hand corner. These training events shall be structured in ways that educators completing the event will be eligible for CTLE credits as well as stipends. Details about these requirements are further defined in the RFP. Next slide, please. Following the conclusion of these training events, the proposer and ultimately the selected contractor should be prepared to provide post-event support for training participants. This support will reinforce the continued relevance, retention, and use of clean energy training content and associated activities with P through 12 students. Next slide, please. In this next section, I'll be covering the proposal requirements, which pertain to both Pillar 1 and Pillar 2. Next slide. If you're interested in submitting a proposal, we ask that you adhere to the format defined in the RFP. Extraneous pages provided beyond what's needed to present a complete and comprehensive proposal will not influence the evaluation of the proposal. The format we are looking for consists of the sub-bullets on this slide, specifically a cover page, project team and qualifications, proposed statement of work, proposed schedule, proposed metrics, proposed budget, references, and resumes. Very importantly, I want to mention that several of these required documents do have templates that accompany the RFP. The items that have templates are the cover page, statement of work, schedule, metrics, and budget. Please use those templates and build upon them when submitting your proposal. Another important note for anybody who is looking to submit a proposal via our web-based portal, you may notice that a few of these documents are listed as optional. The reason they're listed as optional is because you have the option of either selecting the template for Pillar 1 or the template for Pillar 2. But let me reiterate that each of these documents are required for a complete proposal. Just select from the templates that pertain to the pillar you're interested in applying for. Next slide, please. A few things to consider. Proposers are required to state in their proposal if they intend to use artificial intelligence for the proposed work. Approval for any such use of AI systems must be expressly granted in advance by NYSERDA. Any proposer who submits materials to NYSERDA that are created with the assistance of AI must disclose such use to NYSERDA. For more on our AI policy, we will add a link in the chat that'll direct you to a web page that provides greater detail. Just speaking to the final bullet on this page, please also note that proposers will be required to answer questions during proposal submission, which will include making required certification under the state finance law and disclosing any prior findings of non-responsibility. Next slide, please. So we spoke of what was required within the proposal. Now let me highlight how proposals will be evaluated. Again, this section pertains to both Pillar 1 and Pillar 2. Next slide, please. Proposals that meet solicitation requirements will be reviewed by a scoring committee using 4 key pieces of evaluation criteria. That criteria includes project team and qualifications, quality of proposal, outcomes and cost, as well as other considerations. Further details on what's included in each of these evaluation criteria is detailed in the RFP. In addition to these 4 criterion, NYSERDA will also review proposals based on the program policy factors, which are detailed in the RFP. Next slide, please. All right, up to the good part, the part about award. NYSERDA anticipates making a single award for Pillar number 1, as well as a single award for Pillar number 2. We may, however, choose to engage multiple proposers for research and content development under Pillar number 1 specifically. NYSERDA does reserve the right to build teams across selected contractors and stakeholders to maximize the value of the effort and funding. As for timeline, NYSERDA expects to notify proposers in approximately 4 to 6 weeks from the proposal due date as to whether or not your proposal has been selected to receive an award. Next slide, please. This slide up on the screen right now includes some key due dates for everyone to keep in mind. Proposals for both Pillar 1 and Pillar number 2 are due March 30th by 3 p.m. Eastern Time. We do prefer that proposals be submitted online via the portal link included on this slide. If you choose to submit your proposal online, we will first include some helpful guidance in a link that'll be dropped in the chat. But one thing that we like to caution, and these directions are included in the RFP, is that it is advisable to allow for at least an hour to submit your proposal online. That should give you ample time to upload attachments, answer relevant questions, fill in key fields. That due date and due time of 3 p.m. Is a firm cutoff. The portal will close at that point in time, and we cannot receive proposals following that due date and due date time. If online submission is not possible for you, we will also accept proposals by mail or hand delivery. In addition to the ultimate proposal due date of March 30th, we do kindly ask that any firms interested in proposing under this RFP submit their intent to propose via email. That email can be sent to myself, Holly Monroe, and I ask that you send that by March 16th at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Next slide, please. We are about to move into the question and answer portion of this webinar. So if you haven't done so already, please drop those questions in the Slido feature of WebEx. The way we're going to go about the Q&A is we're going to begin with questions that were submitted prior to this webinar and then work through the list of questions that have been submitted during the webinar. We do have quite a bit of time remaining in the hour, so we're going to try to get through just as many questions as time permits. But do not fret if we don't get to your question, because following this webinar, we will be publishing all questions and answers in an FAQ document. That document will be made available within 2 weeks, and ultimately those written responses will actually supersede any live verbal responses offered today. Last thing I'll note is that should questions arise after this webinar, please direct those questions to myself, Holly Monroe, or my colleague Beth Offenbacher. Both of our sets of contact information are up on the screen. We are the designated contacts for this RFP and the ones authorized to respond to inquiries. With that said, I will invite my colleague Beth to join me on the screen, and we will start making our way through the questions.
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you. We have several questions, as you know, that have been submitted previously. So we will start off with those questions and providing responses. We encourage you to submit additional questions via Slido, and we will do our best to answer as many of them as we can. Those questions that we aren't able to get to today, again, as Holly indicated, will be added to the frequently asked questions document that will be posted on the solicitation page along with the recording from today's session. So let me pause here and take a drink and we will dive right in. Okay, let's see. The first question, is a small WBE eligible to apply? And so WBE standing for Women Business Enterprise, I believe. WB businesses are eligible to apply. Next question. Is it allowable for an applicant to submit proposals for both Pillar 1 and Pillar 2, provided the applicant meets the qualifications and requirements for each? Or does NYSERDA intend for organizations to apply to only one pillar? The answer is yes, proposers may submit to either or both pillars. Each pillar will be scored independently from the other. A separate proposal must be submitted for each pillar. Moving on to the next question. Additionally, does NYSERDA recommend an estimated grant size for Pillar 2? A total of $5,750,000 is available, with $750,000 designated for Pillar 1 and $5 million designated for Pillar 2. I do want to also step back to the first question that came up in terms of if a small WBE is eligible to apply. And so just want to emphasize that small businesses can apply. All right. Next question. Does NYSERDA anticipate selecting a single statewide coordinator per pillar or multiple independent regional contractors? NYSERDA anticipates making a single award for Pillar 1, but may engage multiple proposers for research and content development. NYSERDA anticipates making a single award for Pillar 2. Next question. If a proposer submits both Pillar 1 and Pillar 2, will they be evaluated jointly or independently? Each pillar will be scored independently from the other. A separate proposal must be submitted for each pillar if a proposer wishes to be considered for more than one pillar. So I'll restate that answer again. Each pillar will be scored independently from the other. A separate proposal must be submitted for each pillar if a proposer wishes to be considered for more than one pillar. Are recorded demonstrations and virtual site visits considered responsive where in-person access is limited? The majority of training events and their component parts are to be in person. However, a subset may be offered virtually, as suggested by the proposer and approved by NYSERDA. Next question. Will NYSERDA coordinate outreach to school districts, or should proposers plan independent recruitment of educators and institutions? The contractor shall be solely responsible for marketing, recruitment, and enrollment of a suitable number of educators, with attrition and potential no-shows taken into account to achieve overall training goal. Is the program intended to produce workforce placements or primarily career awareness and pathway exposure outcomes? The program is primarily intended to provide career exposure, especially to those from historically underserved communities. A core goal of the program is to expand and further connect clean energy career awareness efforts to NYSERDA's existing workforce development and training programs, including its career awareness training programs and hiring support initiatives. All right, let's see. Thank you for the webinar. Thank you for adding this comment. Thank you for the webinar. Will these slides be available online or sent to the participants? The slides and recording from today's webinar will be available on the For Students and Educators page. And I'd like to ask my colleague to please drop that link in the chat so everyone can see that page link and have it available. All right. A few more questions that have come in, and thank you again for your interest and engagement with us about this RFP. Do we have an anticipated timeline for when the RFP for Pillar 3 will be released? At this time, we do not have an anticipated release date to share for the Pillar 3 solicitation. Under Pillar 2, may a proposer act primarily as a program integrator, coordinating delivery partners rather than serving as the direct training provider? The proposal may include a team of individuals/firms with the required qualifications and applicable relationships. And I'm going to just pause for a minute and take a drink of water, and then we will come back to the questions. Okay. Excellent. Thank you so much. All right, next question. May subcontracted educators, workforce organizations, and community groups deliver program activities under one lead contractor with centralized reporting responsibility? Subcontracted entities may perform work under one lead contractor. All team members' relevant experience should be demonstrated in the proposal. If awarded a contract, the lead contractor shall be responsible for timely completion of all tasks in the statement of work and schedule, regardless of subcontracting agreements. Okay, a few more questions. How will geographic coverage versus depth of engagement in disadvantaged communities be evaluated? Both Pillar 1 and Pillar 2 are to benefit all of New York State. Pillar 2 specifically has additional requirements of training at least 2,000 unique New York State educators and at least 50% of participating educators must be serving or from New York State disadvantaged communities and/or a priority district schools and/or priority district schools. Should community-based partners directly manage participant recruitment, or should recruitment remain centralized under the lead proposer? Subcontracted entities may perform work under one lead contractor. The role subcontractors will play in the project should be described in the proposer's submitted statement of work. If awarded a contract, the lead contractor shall be responsible for timely completion of all tasks in the statement of work and schedule, regardless of subcontracting agreements. Okay, thank you for these excellent questions. A few more that have come in. Are alignment activities with existing workforce training programs without duplicating training delivery considered responsive? I'll repeat that. Are alignment activities with existing workforce training programs without duplicating training delivery considered responsive? Both Pillar 1 and Pillar 2 anticipate building on existing resources. Pillar 1 includes curating existing open source clean energy teaching content. Pillar 2 includes building upon existing teaching materials for educator training where available and applicable. Will NYSERDA provide standardized metrics across awardees, or may proposers define program-centric indicators? For the purposes of proposal evaluation, metrics templates have been provided for proposers to respond to and complete. These metrics will be evaluated when considering quality of proposals and outcomes. Additional program-specific indicators may be defined following award during the contracting phase. I'll repeat that sentence. Additional program-specific indicators may be defined following award during the contracting phase. Should reporting focus primarily on educator participation or student engagement outcomes? As it relates to Pillar 2, the contractor selected will be responsible for reporting educator participation in the form of rosters, evaluation reports, and more, and student engagement outcomes in the form of quantified results demonstrating the continued retention and use of teaching content with P-12 students. Should proposers describe a post-contract sustainability model for continued use of the platform and educator network? Yes, the sustainability of each pillar will be evaluated. For Pillar 1, this will include an evaluation of how the proposer will perform quarterly reviews of web pages and the anticipated outcomes from reviews. For Pillar 2, this will include an evaluation of the approach to post-event support. I'll repeat that last sentence. For Pillar 2, this will include an evaluation of the approach to post-event support. A few more questions that have come in. Does the post-event support also need to be offered in person, or can those be offered virtually? Post-event support may be offered in person or virtually as suggested by the proposer and approved by NYSERDA. For Pillar 1, do you want existing open source content only, or can contractors also create new open source content? Existing and new content can be incorporated in Pillar 1. However, there should be a priority for already existing content to be included. Regarding Pillar 2, is there a cadence for the professional development, For example, 10 professional development sessions per month for X number of months. NYSERDA intends to award contracts by June 2026 with an expectation that work will commence immediately thereafter. As part of the proposal, Pillar 2 applicants ought to submit a schedule form that includes a breakdown of the cadence for training delivery. All right. Some others that have come in, and thank you for this steady stream of great questions. Are the proposals supposed to cover the whole of New York State, or is it okay to cover selected geographic regions, including the DACs? Proposals should be demonstrating their ability to cover all of New York State. For Pillar 1, do you have expectations around the number of resources to include on the website? As part of the proposal, Pillar 1 applicants ought to submit the metrics form that includes the minimum number of clean energy teaching content to be organized and displayed upon the initial web pages, build out and launch. All right, let me just pause here for a moment and see what other questions have come in that we have not included. All right. I'm seeing a question here. Can you please review the timeline for Pillar 1? Once the award is made, how much time is allotted for research and content curation? And at what point must the website be published and site maintenance begin? NYSERDA intends to award contracts by June 2026 with an expectation that work will commence immediately thereafter. Pillar 1 is anticipated to include up to 1.5 years of research and website development and an additional 2 years of website management. I hope that helped. All right. Let's see if I have missed any that have been submitted. Let me pause here and check in with Holly. Are there any that you're seeing that I may have stepped over among this list of terrific questions, Holly?
Thanks, Beth. So I am seeing a question that might have come in midstream that we missed. The question is, are you looking for a single proposer for Pillar 2 as well? Does that mean you expect the application to be in the order of magnitude of $5 million? And in response to that question, yes, to kind of reiterate our expectation, we do anticipate making a single award under Pillar number 2 with up to $5 million designated for that scope of work.
Just want to pause here and encourage folks to add any other questions that are bubbling up. I know sometimes when you hear a question that's been asked or someone else's or the response to that, it surfaces something. And again, this is not your only chance. You certainly can submit additional questions that we will update on the FAQ until the time of the solicitation close, the RFP close.
If I may jump in again, Beth, I think your point about some questions spurring other questions was spot on, because I am seeing a follow-up question came in requesting that we provide a timeline for Pillar number 2. I'm not sure if we mentioned this before, but no harm in mentioning it again. So Pillar number 2 which again, we do anticipate awarding around June 2026 with work to begin immediately thereafter. It is anticipated to include up to half a year of training and development, and then 3 years of concurrent marketing, recruitment and enrollment, training delivery, and post-event support to reinforce that continued retention of training content.
Okay, just pausing here and taking a look at the questions. We really appreciate the robust participation in today's webinar. And of course, you will be able to go back and listen to the recording to be able to redigest the information that we're sharing here. I'd also like to put in a plug for our email list. If you are not already subscribed to the Workforce Development and Training email list, that's something you can easily do today. It only takes a few moments. I'd like to ask my colleague to put that link in the chat as well. That is a terrific way to receive updates about all of our various offerings, our hiring support programs, our career awareness initiatives, certainly, and our training programs with one easy step. So that link you can see there provided in the chat. Okay, we have some other questions that have come in, and so I'm just giving a moment here to make sure got all of my details to share with you in response to those. So please bear with us, everyone. Also, go ahead, Holly, please.
Oh, sorry to step on you there, Beth. I am seeing a question remarking on the extensiveness of the list of clean energy topics under pillar number 2, the teacher training series in particular. And the question is, if the expectation is that a single training session include all of the topics, or that in the portfolio of topics, these topics should be included somewhere. And the person asking this question provided an example that hydrogen may not be relevant in all regions of New York State. So in response to this question, we would not expect all topics to be covered in all events, but much as the person asking the question highlighted, we would like to see events include a regional emphasis on clean energy that is especially particular and relevant to the given locality where the training event is being held.
Super questions here. While a few more are coming in, and we're just making sure we have all the information to share with you in response to those, I do want to emphasize, please do visit the solicitation page. We've referenced several of the additional documents that are required as part of a submission. And Holly, would you like to just touch on again those different options for Pillar 1 and 2, just so folks that's underscored for the applicants?
Would you like me to provide an overview of the pillars, or are you asking just to reiterate the due dates?
The due dates would be great, and also the attachments that are required for each of the pillars.
Certainly. So due dates to keep in mind, proposals are required by March 30th at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Once again, online submission of proposals is preferred, but please allow yourself at least an hour to go into our portal um, and fill out the requisite forms in advance. Prior to that proposal due date, if your firm are interested in proposing, we ask that you submit an intent to propose via an email to myself, Holly Monroe, by March 16th at 3 p.m. In terms of what is required in each proposal, and this pertains to both Pillar 1 and Pillar 2, we require a cover page, template provided, project team and qualification description, proposed statement of work, template provided, proposed schedule, template provided, proposed metrics, template provided, proposed budget, template provided, and we close out with required references and resumes.
Excellent. Thank you, Holly. And again, that information is spelled out in the summary document, and you can see all of those templates there on the RFP page for RFP 6118. We have about 6 minutes left in the webinar, and I'll just go to another question that's come in. Could you please restate the project period for Pillar 2? I remember it commences in June 2026. Pillar 2 is anticipated to include up to 0.5 years of training development and 3 years of concurrent marketing, recruitment, enrollment, training delivery, and post-event support to reinforce continued retention of the training content. So thank you for that excellent question. Holly, are you seeing any others that you'd like to surface that I may have missed?
I am scanning the list right now. Just give me a moment. So nothing I'm seeing currently, but I'll repeat back for our attendees. If you submitted a question and we didn't get to it in the course of conversation today, please do not worry. We will be responding to all questions, those answered live and verbally, as well as any that we may have missed in the influx of great inquiries we received. Those responses will be written in an FAQ document and published to NYSERDA's website within 2 weeks of this webinar. So please be on the lookout for those responses. We promise those replies will be coming if you haven't heard a reply live today.
So it looks like we've come to the end of our time. I'm not seeing any more questions trickling in at this moment, but we'll pause here. We have a few more minutes in case something does come to mind. We are very excited to see the interest in this RFP and are looking forward to hearing from all of you, we hope. Any last thoughts, Holly, before we wrap up?
Just to thank everyone again for your time and interest in joining us in this informational webinar today. We look forward to you hopefully submitting a proposal. Again, keep in mind to look out for the FAQ document. Please submit your intent to propose and ultimately submit your proposals by March 30th. Thank you so much, everyone. And don't hesitate to reach out to Beth or myself if additional questions come up in the meantime.
Have a
Take
great
care.
day, everyone.